My name is Sobit Lama and I'm here for my presentation of my individual assignment. So the topic of my assignment is issues in cash flow statement. So here is my first slide. So now let's go into the introduction. That is the first part of my assignment. So in the introductions we have the highlightations of the qualitative knowledge of the income statement and the cash flow statement, which is done by reviewing the current literatures as per the guideline of our assignment. And secondly, it also demonstrates the significance of both income and cash flow statement. And at last, it also describes the issues of cash flow statement on the basis of review and highlights of the qualitative knowledge of income statement as well as the cash flow statement. So in our third slide, we have the introductions of cash flow and income statement. So at first, cash flow statement. In the cash flow statement, as we all know that it analyzes the sources of firm's cash and its uses over a definite period of time, and it also points out the financial flows of a company from its corporate expenses, including the operating activities, financial activities, and investment activities. And in case of income statement, we all know that it evaluates the financial performance of corporations, such as income, expenditures, gain or loss over a particular period of time. And in addition to this, in case of income statement, we have a particular period of time. It provides consumer with the profits and benefits of a corporations as well as the profit and loss. After that, we have the functions of income statement and cash flow statement. In case of income statement, it is intended to describe how much profit is made by a firm for a particular period of the statement. Generally, income statements are two types. The first one is single step income statement, and the another one is multiple step income statement. And in case of the cash flow statement, in comparison to income statement, the objectives of the cash flow statement is to demonstrate how much money the company earns, that is cash inflow, and how much cash it loses, which you call as cash outflows. So basically there are two categories of cash flow statements, and they are a direct cash flow statement and an indirect cash flow statement. So in another part of the slide, we have the applications or usefulness of income statement and cash flow statement for investors. So why the investor finds the income statement and cash flow statement very useful? The reason is that while making decisions, for example, if you are concerned with problems like whether you are producing a profit or a loss, then you will definitely have to go for income statements. So due to this reason, income statement is very useful for investors. Whereas if you have to make a decisions based on the amount of debt commitment for your corporations, then you have to opt for the cash flow statement. So due to these reasons, both cash flow statement and income statement are very important for investors. And in another part of the slide, we have the analysis of three different companies, that is BHP Limited, Fantastic Limited, and the Santos Limited. So these three companies, we analyze the final reports of 3 different years starting from 2017 to 2019, and on the basis of the analysis of these 3 different firms, we present you the different issues in the cash flows. So the first one is the BHP Limited. So in case of this firm, we have the positive cash flow from operating activities, and also the cash flow from this operating activities is more than that of the income statement. And thirdly, we came to know that the cash flow operating activities is greater than the cash flow from the capital expenditures, and in this case it was easy to cover the dividend payments. And in case of the trends in capital expenditures and dividend trends, in both cases we have the increasing trend, and also the increasing trend in net borrowing, although the value was negative. And at last, we also found that it has diminishing trend, that is decreasing trend in working capital accounts. And after doing all these things, we came to know that this company has utilized properly the working capital expenditures. And now we have the Santos Limited. So in this firm, what we observed is that it has positive cash flow from operating activities, and also the cash from these operating activities is greater than the capital expenditures, and it easily covered the dividend payments, and it also possessed both the decreasing and increasing trend in capital expenditures, decreasing in the year from 2017 to 2018 and increasing in the later part, that is from 2018 to 2019. So in case of dividend trends, it has the increasing trend, and in case of net borrowing, it possesses increasing as well as decreasing trend. So lastly, we have the Fantastic Limited. So this is a firm which is comparatively very low as compared to that of the Santos Limited and BSP Limited, because its report from the all 3 years were not good as compared to that of the Santos and BSP Limited. So in case of Fantastic Limited, we have the negative cash flow from operating activities, and due to these reasons, the capital expenditures is greater than the cash flow from operating activities. And from the annual report, we also analyzed that it has no any dividend payments mentioned, so there is no trend in dividends. And in case of capital borrowing and in case of capital expenditures and net borrowing trend, in both cases we have the decreasing trend. So due to these reasons, as I already told, that this firm is not as up to the mark as compared to that of Santos and BSP Limited. So after doing all the analysis from these 3 different firms and knowing about the cash flow and income statement, we came across some of the key findings. And the first one is the financial strength of all the 3 firms. And by comparing the financial strength of all these 3 firms, we came to know that BSP is at the top, and after that comes the Santos, and finally the Fantastic. Because as you all know that in case of BSP, there were more cash inflow than cash outflow, so it has generated more cash. So due to these reasons, it has got a strong financial statement. And in the same order, secondly we have Santos, and at last we have Fantastic. And now the other key finding is the lending purposes. So in case of lending purpose, we have the same order, that is BSP is greater than Santos, and at last we have Fantastic. And let me explain about why BSP is greater than the remaining 2 for this lending purpose. So the first reason is the ability of BSP company to generate excess fund from operating activities, as I already told, and due to this reason, it has highest positive net cash flow. Whereas in case of Santos, although the cash flow from operating activities balances the cash from the investing and financing activities, and the firm is in good shape of doing business in future, but because of high cash inflow of BSP, as I already told, because of the high dominance of BSP and the strong financial strength, BSP is over the Santos. And then lastly, the Fantastic Limited is at last in case of lending purpose as well as in financial strength, because of its negative cash flow throughout the years and does not have stable operations. Hence, after considerations for all of the things, we came to know that depending on the cash flow from the cash flow statements, we can analyze the financial strength and lending purpose of all the firms. So here I come to the end of my presentations. I hope you like it. Thank you.